ladies and gents. This is our third and last lesson of this week. It's going to have two parts. This first part is the practical. We're going to look at something, and the next bit we're going to work on the board. So, we spoke a lot about compounds, a bit about elements. Next week we're going to start dealing with mixtures, but we're actually already even starting now. So we're going to have one little more experiment, and we're going to be looking at these two elements. I've got sulfur here. It's this yellow powder. I'll put some in this little, in this beaker. Okay, very dusty powder, yellow. It smells a little bit sulfury. Doesn't smell very good. And then I've got iron. And these are obviously two different elements. Okay, they're in the periodic table. That means they're elements. If I was to look with the microscope at a tiny little gray grain of iron, it's iron filing, okay, it's like shaving, you will find billions and billions of atoms that are all identical. They are all made of iron atoms. And the same thing for the sulfur. Each little grain here is made out of millions of identical atoms, this time sulfur, of course. Now, they all have their properties. So iron, for example, conduct electricity. If I was to melt them together and form an iron rod, like one little thing like this, then it will be conducting electricity. The other thing that you probably know about iron is magnetic. So I don't know how well you can see here, but I think you can see that it's picking up this iron filing. I don't want to put it inside because then I won't be able to take the iron filing away. But now we're going to mix them. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of iron filing inside here and mix. We made a mixture. Okay, you can see the mixture. It's a little bit of gray, a little bit of yellow, all mixed together. Now my question to you, is this a compound? Okay, I've got iron, I've got sulfur. Is this now a compound? Well, not really. For one, there is no fixed ratios between iron. I just added a bit of iron, a bit of sulfur. I can add a bit more sulfur. I can add a bit more iron. Okay? So there's no fixed ratio here. That's one thing. The second thing is that the atoms are not combined to form molecules. We don't have chemical bonds between them. And I can convince you with that by putting this magnet here again. I don't know how well you can see. Okay? It's a little bit dusty. I don't know if you can really see it. But it still pick up the iron. You know what I'll do? I'm just going to put it inside there, and you'll see that the iron is still magnetic. So the iron kept its property, and the sulfur kept its property as well. Sulfur is not magnetic. Okay, so once I'm kind of shaking it off, I got rid of most of the sulfur. There's still some sulfur stuck on the iron. But that's mainly iron. Look how cool is this, eh? It's going to take me ages to clean that, but never mind, it was worth it, okay? So I've got iron and sulfur mixed together. It's not a compound, it's a mixture. Each one keep their own properties. Okay, let's put it back in. This as I can. I lied, it doesn't take hours. Installation, come on. Here we go, most of it is there. Okay, and now we've got iron and sulfur there. Now, I want to turn this iron and sulfur mixture into a compound. How do I do that? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into a test tube. It's called a test tube. Okay, and if you remember, maybe not as much. If you remember, I told you that sometime to make a chemical reaction take place, you need to give it a bit of energy, a little bit of heat. That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so gas stove, what goes on first of all? Safety first, okay? Gas stove on, okay? Full heat, okay? And what we're doing is we are heating the mixture. Still a mixture, but we are heating it. So we're giving some energy to the iron and sulfur atoms, enough energy so they can come together and eventually form bonds. Okay? And we're just going to look at it a little bit, and hopefully at some point we will see a glow. We will see a glow here. I'm just going to pause you because I don't want to waste too much time. Oh, actually, you're already seeing some sulfur fumes coming out, and it does really stink. Okay? But that's another kind of reaction. That's sulfur and oxygen. We're not going to do that. I'm looking for iron and sulfur together. Okay, I'll pause here. Okay, so it's going to be hard to show you. I'll just move a little bit on this side. But we had a beautiful glow. I don't know how well my camera skills are going to be on this side. But we've got a beautiful glow on the iron and sulfur mixture. And that glow shows us that there is some kind of chemical reaction taking place. So the iron and sulfur are combining now to form iron sulfide. Okay? And we're going to, again, try and convince you that. Okay? Now, if this is iron sulfide now, rather than iron and sulfur mixture, then the iron should not be magnetic anymore. Okay? And if you can see, okay, I'm trying to pick up some iron filing, but nothing comes out. Nothing comes out. That means at least most of the iron there, okay, see it's not foiling my magnet, okay? Most of the iron got connected to the sulfur. And this is now a new material. It's not iron, it's not a sulfur, it's not a mixture of iron and sulfur, it's an iron sulfide, its own material, a compound. Okay, we'll move now to the board.